Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very first of many live streams we'll be doing over the next few weeks on this Twitch channel. We are the streaming solutions for any sort of streaming needs, really. And this is a brand new series we've created called the Development Diaries. Essentially, what it will be is every week for the next few months, we will be bringing in other university game development teams. Like the ones before you here, and we get to showcase all the fun, cool projects we've made, so everyone's made. And then hopefully you get to then see what it's like to go through the development process, and these guys get to talk about all the fun stuff they get to make. So hopefully it should be very fun for everyone involved. Right now we have team, you are Right as Rain, right?
Yep.
Yes, so this is your team game as Right as Rain. Tell me a little bit about first, what was it like coming together, right at the start of this project? What was it like coming from, okay, who are you guys? How do we make a game together?
That was pretty rough.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, our very first meeting in the GA was not great. Our task was just to come up with a general idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just brainstorming different things we might be able to do, and we were spectacularly indecisive. We went to quite a lot of different ideas, but we just couldn't settle on any one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was it was kind of difficult. We had a couple teammates that were quick to find issues with whatever we tried to give a go. So
What about the other ideas? Was there any fun ones that stood out that you maybe didn't go with?
After about, I think week 2 was when we finally picked our idea.
Yeah.
And it had been narrowed down to 3, which were the ones we liked the most. We had this one, which is our bullet hell. We had a top-down Zelda, where you could manipulate the tile palette in the world, so you could change tiles, and then you could traverse vertically.
Yeah.
And the third one, oh my god.
Was it the horrible
It was the
multiplayer platformer?
parkour platformer. It was the parkour platformer.
Yes. It was designed, the original idea was that it would be a bit like New Super Mario Bros. Wii, where you could mess around with your friends and grab them and throw them and stuff, mixed with sort of horror.
It was supposed to invoke every negative emotion.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you'd get incredibly frustrated at your friends and also horrified at what they just threw you into.
I can see why maybe that idea was left on the floor. Yeah.
Actually, so we ended up doing a vote for all 3 tasks.
It was pretty close.
And I think the bullet hell won by 2 points. And the other 2 were tied. So it was actually much closer than...
You might think, yeah.
Well, but this one won out. So tell me a bit, what is this project as Right as Rain?
So the elevator pitch is, it's a multiplayer bullet hell where one of the players is a traditional bullet hell sort of character, and the other player plays as the boss, which controls the bullet hell. And the whole thing has a weather theme, so it's 2 sentient clouds duking it out in the sky, which is sort of wacky, fairly unique, I think. We tried, when we were doing our sort of original pitch for the whole thing, trying to find some existing market on this, so you could do some market analysis, was quite difficult. Asymmetric.
Quite a unique sort of experience.
Yeah. Which obviously is, that's good for selling it, the USPs and whatnot. So asymmetric multiplayer was sort of one of the big pillars, as well as bullet hells, and those 2 kind of haven't been...
And variable gameplay.
Yeah, and yeah, that too.
Variable gameplay.
Just so anyone that's not familiar, can you explain a bullet hell game?
Oh yeah, so a bullet hell is, it's generally like a top-down sort of shooter, but the sort of main defining feature is that you'll have to fight some boss that shoots a ungodly number of projectiles onto the screen, and the sort of focus of the game is making sure you sort of dodge and weave through this sort of sea of projectiles. So it's sort of quite a high skill game usually. There's a lot of, it attracts a fairly niche, hardcore sort of audience. But we've tried to dial that back a little bit, especially considering it's meant to be multiplayer. But yeah, that's the sort of general idea of a bullet hell.
And so where did the sort of where did the sort of weather aspect of all that come in?
We were looking for a theme. Just
Yeah,
anything.
basically.
Once we decided on our game type, we were like, what's a theme we can end up doing? And I think by far the strongest one was weather.
Yeah, Curtis just suggested.
Curtis just went weather, and we was like, okay, that's a really good one. Let's see if we could think of any more ideas, and we couldn't.
Yeah, so
We couldn't, so we ended up going with weather.
there it was.
And that ended up leading into something else that we really liked,
Oh yeah.
which was great. I don't know if, it's not over there, so I don't know
Okay.
if I want to talk about
All
it.
right, no, yeah, you got some secrets. I mean, you know,
We've
you're,
got a few secrets.
Yeah,
yeah.
bring it
Well,
in,
well,
we'll
I
bring it in
hope so.
next
If you're back every few
Yeah,
weeks,
true.
we want to see
We've
we
got to
want to
pace
see
our content,
all the
right?
stuff
Yeah.
you have to offer. Not right now, you know.
Um,
Keep come back for more. Exactly. Yeah.
Basically, there were two things that really kicked it off, and it was dodging raindrops, and
Yeah.
it's raining cats and dogs, and that's really what kicked that area off, and that's really
Yeah.
all I want to say about it.
That's fair. That's
Okay,
fair.
so how did that sort of general, I guess across all aspects, when you come to brainstorm something, whether it's a theme or a game type, how's that been for you as a team to sort of come up with ideas and agree and disagree and work on stuff together?
It was rough in the beginning.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
We
that
weren't-
was.
really, we were shooting down a lot of ideas. Once we just said, okay, just say ideas, don't shoot them down, just throw out any ideas, and then
Yeah.
we'll go back through them and then see which ones we like. And that really helped.
Yeah. It was basically getting to a point where if we didn't have an idea, we'd be pretty significantly behind. So it sort of pressure kind of helped us make a decent decision. And yeah, once we kind of sat and decided we'll try and do this, it might be difficult or weird to design in a couple ways, but if we just give this a go, see if it works. So far, it seems like it's turning out okay. So yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like ideas and such, as humans, you can be very critical. It's very easy to find flaws in anything that isn't your work.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine how easy it was for all of you to go, oh, I don't like your idea. My idea is
Yeah.
better.
Yes, there's that. But I also find that you're the most critical of your own work.
And yeah,
Yeah,
that-
definitely. Yeah, it's
Um,
definitely important to do so, and I think. So how has that sort of been for you guys? Now that you've opened up to it and said, all right, we need to sort of work together and not be as critical of each other. How has it been to sort of support each other and give each other feedback working as a team?
It's been really nice.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah, it's
Working
been
in a
quite
team has
good.
been really nice for motivation.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
definitely it
This
helps.
is my favorite module.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of
Yeah,
Yeah,
this.
it's
no,
definitely the most
uh,
fun to work
I agree
on.
here. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. So once we got past like that first initial idea, and we sort of, I think it was a little bit just a familiarity thing. I know some of this team, I think, has been on a couple projects before already this year, but I was new, and so were you.
I
Yeah.
was new.
Ethan was also new.
Yeah, if
So-
you want to give us a breakdown of like how your team comes from the different disciplines and
Oh, yeah.
what they work on.
So we've got.
We started with 4 programmers, 4 designers,
Ooh.
and 1 animator.
Nothing changed.
Okay.
Okay.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
4 designers, 4 programmers, and 1 animator.
Yeah.
That's dropped down to 3 programmers, 4 designers, and 1 animator. But
Yeah.
it's roughly stayed the same.
Yeah.
Um,
So mostly design and programming, and then one poor animator that's tasked with
also
quite a
been
lot
doing
of.
all of our art.
Yeah, tasked with quite a
I
lot
mean,
of stuff.
it's pretty. I've seen a little bit of it. We may get to see a little bit in a
Oh,
bit.
true,
and
true.
It's pretty good art and animation. from
Yeah,
what
Well,
I've seen.
We've all been
Thanks,
taking
Jay.
up some of like whenever there's some really simple art, we tend to grab it.
Yeah,
You did some of the concept art. That,
I've done
that
a
was
little bit
really,
of. I've done a little bit of stuff as well. I
Yeah.
can do a bit of art.
If
but,
we can take some off the animator, we try.
yeah,
Of course, yeah.
And
Yeah.
same with programming. Since we're down a programmer, we try and take up.
Yeah.
The designers try and take up some of the programming as well.
And that's, I suppose, how has that been sort of trying to scope out your project and deciding, all right, this is what we have, this is what we can use, this is what we're capable of doing, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So, sort of, figuring out what exactly we can do as a team has been a little bit shaky. Especially, there were some points where it was just like a few of us showing up to the different workshops and stuff. So, having a decent gauge on how much progress we could reasonably make as a team has largely depended on how many of us were actually in the team at the time. So more recently, we've managed to keep a fairly consistent 6 or 7 people turning up, and it's been okay, like figuring out how much we think we can do in one sprint or within like a couple days or so.
Yeah, and I suppose how have those sort of sprints been going, and how have you been managing your team each week using like agile methods or whatever?
We've been using an agile method. I'm the main manager of the teams board. We moved into our production management last sprint. We're in our second production sprint at the moment, the middle of it. We completely overscoped for it.
Yeah.
And so we're just mopping up that overscoped sprint this sprint, and then we'll start again from the next one.
Yeah, we'll sort of pare it down a little
Yeah.
bit.
No, that's a core thing, I think, just being able to recognize. That's the whole point of the sprints, that you say, all right, actually, this is too much work.
Yeah.
Let's dial it
We
back.
only were able to do half of the work that we
Yeah.
said we could.
So there we go. We know.
But I suppose
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
So it's like, okay, just have it and start there.
As long as you can pull it back and then actually fix what you've done and moving forward,
Yeah.
not make the same mistakes. That's, I guess, what this whole process is about. Isn't it?
Yeah.
In our teams, we have our project manager, which is like all of our tasks. We have a mood board for references to art and anything that we want. We have a brainstorming board, which we haven't used too much, but it's there.
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of channels for like concept art and our agile stand-ups and our general.
Yeah,
which is
just
for-
general stuff.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good to keep everything, because we're having a similar, well, we're having an issue with our communication for this team. That there's a lot of not so much documenting,
Right.
and so it's obviously very important if, like you said, sometimes there's not always all of you
Yeah.
there. It's important to make
Yeah,
sure everyone
That's
has.
a huge thing actually, is communication is definitely one of like the most important things to get down well. And I think for the most part our team's been pretty good. Definitely thanks to Ethan.
I have been forcing a lot.
Good, no, yeah.
Go do agile stand-ups.
Exactly.
Do it now. You forgot. I'm going to kick you.
You're pointing at me for a specific reason.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely like the biggest, or at least one of the biggest factors for making sure you can get stuff done, and also just being motivated to bother with your project is hearing other people saying they're going to work on something, and
You get that sort of guilt of knowing you're not working
yeah,
on
basically.
it. Yeah, no, I
Or
can't.
There's a
getting
get
it
proper-
happen, or someone else saying that's really cool is also really nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely being able to work with everyone in your group and say, oh, hey, I made this cool thing. Oh, that's great. I also made this really
Exactly.
cool
And
thing.
being able to
And then-
bounce ideas off each other for
Yeah.
why something
Yeah.
might not be working or how to get something working. Like having a rubber duck
Yeah,
there
basically.
is really nice.
Yeah, that's definitely a great way of working together. I suppose there's also, yeah, you can do a lot within your teams. Are you sort of familiar much on what the other teams are doing and sharing ideas between those?
A lot of teams seem to come to our group
Yeah.
during the supervised sessions. We don't go out a lot. A lot of people seem to come to us.
Yes, I've definitely had Kieran come by
Yeah.
once or twice.
Well, I mean, you know, if you stay tuned to this each week, we'll have
That's true.
different
actually. Yeah, we
different
should,
teams to bring in. Yeah, keep an eye on the
Yeah.
competition, see what's going on.
See if
and
we
then,
can
yeah.
steal a couple. I mean, borrow a
Or
couple.
yeah, it's all. They're all great ideas. You're,
Yeah,
you're all
exactly.
lovely. I'm sure you would have come up with it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
in good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I suppose for this game, if we go a little bit into like, I guess, are any of you the programmers for any of your teams?
Yeah, I'm on computing, but also Ethan does plenty of programming.
Okay, yeah.
I do a lot of
He's,
programming.
he's taught me most of a lot of C# that I didn't know before.
I came
so,
in with 7 years of Unity
yeah.
experience, so I'm pretty familiar with programming in C#.
Yeah,
So you're making this game in Unity and
yeah,
C#.
Unity
okay,
C#.
okay.
Yeah.
So what was the decision behind that?
That was the requirement.
I think so.
Oh, is it?
It's a requirement.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Also,
Shows how much
I
I
will
know.
be pushing
I just-
very hard for Unity
For Unity and
because
C#. Yeah,
because
that's
it's something
fair.
I can help a lot in.
Yeah, clearly you
Yeah.
know plenty of it. So
So I suppose, how has that been then, sort of working? Is it, I suppose, something you're familiar with, something you're sort of getting
sort
into
of,
now?
yeah.
How has that been, starting this big project?
I've done a little bit of Unity before, but not nearly as much as I've learned right now. And for the most part, it's been good. There's a couple, not actually base Unity stuff, but packages, so like extra bits you can install into Unity that have been pretty temperamental. I've sort of been the head of trying to wrangle that and making sure everything's working, but God, it's frustrating.
You're an input guy and a multiplayer guy, and I'm so glad it's not me.
It's rough, but
Yeah.
for the most part, Unity is quite nice to.
Yeah,
work
I
with.
suppose you're working with a lot of like packages and stuff that you're not familiar with.
Yeah, a
And
little
you-
bit.
Oh, how do I do this? All right, well, I found this package online.
Yeah, find this package.
Why doesn't this code work?
Search it up. Look at the documentation. Yeah.
And I suppose it's great that having someone like you with.
Yeah.
And I assume your other programmers are also.
I completely restructured 3 of our systems.
He does kind of jump scare me sometimes.
Just come in and say, oh, why does
Literally.
it? Oh, that's not the code I wrote.
Yeah. It'll be like
Yeah.
within 1 or 2 commits on the GitHub. It'll be just a completely restructured code base, and I'll have to decipher what he's.
I have started
he's
writing
written.
documentation for it.
Yes, I appreciate that. But
Oh, okay. So going from make sure you do your stand-ups, make sure you document everything.
yeah.
Well, no, so
You don't
I do write
actually-
stand-ups. I do write stand-ups.
write
I just
stand-ups.
have to write documentation for my new code.
Yeah. See, that's I gotta read through documentation for packages, Unity, and also my team members' code. It's crazy.
Great, you gotta learn all this stuff.
I
How
know.
does this work? How do you work?
Yeah.
What have you done? What's going on?
But
Yeah.
no, it's
yeah.
it's
I
fine.
suppose
for the
how's that
most
been
part.
then? Sort of keeping, I guess, using GitHub and Fork to go
Yeah.
through everything. How's that been collaborating all your work together in the same space?
Yeah, I thought I was quite scared of collaborative fork when we started doing this project because I don't think either of. Oh no, I suppose GAM 101 had collaborative fork, but
Not necessarily. You could have done a board game, but
Yeah.
I don't think anyone did a board game.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
well, I
Okay.
did card game.
Okay.
yeah, okay. But yeah, doing like a big sort of team GitHub thing was a little intimidating because obviously if you make some changes and someone else makes some changes and they don't line up entirely, then you've got to go in and figure
Yeah.
out which parts you want to keep, what you want to change, and so on.
Yeah, it's like which one of you is right. In
Yeah,
what you've-
basically.
in what you've
It
done.
just relies on communication.
But yeah, so yeah, for one, our communication's been pretty good, so we don't have to worry too much about merge conflicts. And for the most part, even when they do happen, they're usually fairly clear which one you can, pick. So
and we
it's
haven't had to revert the project at any point.
no.
So nothing major has
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
So it's
fingers
been-
crossed. You still got another couple,
Oh,
another couple months.
God damn it.
Who knows what could happen? Yeah. This is week 1 of many.
Yeah.
If we come back in 2 weeks,
So yeah, next
Yeah, you might be
Next
hearing
week,
about
we had to
coconut.
restructure our entire
Alright,
code
what's
base.
it's
going
all
on?
gone.
Hi guys, how's it? Oh, you're all just gone.
I also have a backup of all of our files because I'm so scared of it.
Oh,
There'll be a
man.
different team here in 2 weeks' time. Oh, these guys are great. Yeah, they were really lovely.
Yeah.
They seem really passionate about their project. Out of it.
And the coconut appeared.
No, God.
So, how far through are you right now in terms of the project? In terms of, like,
For-
I guess end is done. You're ready to
For
ship.
our
Yeah.
production, so they have given us a production schedule that they want us to follow. I created a production schedule for our pitch that I wanted to follow,
Do
and
you
that's
have
what
that
we've
on
been
the
following. The presentation might be on there.
Is it the pitch presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's.
But I think I know the numbers.
Okay.
Basically, we are in the middle of our production section. So
Yeah.
we ended pre-production pretty much at the start of this term, and we started, and we had a sprint. Now we're in the middle of our second production sprint, and then March 28th we should move on to our post-production sprint, which will be bug fixing and just mopping up any issues.
March 28th.
Since it's agile, we can always go back, but the goal is to have plenty of time to bug fix and polish.
Yeah.
And that's the goal.
That's true. That is a very important thing that we've been warned about. So I guess you'll hear later
And
maybe.
also
Yeah,
Easter
well-
break is in the middle of that, so it's really it's set up to be an 8-week cycle. It's not. It's probably 6.
Okay.
We'll see how much you've got
Yeah.
done in 6 weeks' time. 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So I suppose what if you're in the middle of your second sprint at the moment?
Mhm.
What does that entail at the moment? What is everyone working on in each element of the group?
We've broken it up into really 4 sections of content, which is player power-ups, player primary attacks, player secondary attacks, and then boss attacks,
yeah.
and then miscellaneous, which is like UI and stuff. That's roughly what we've got it as.
Yeah. So we've just been sort of creating various attacks basically. So different ways to shoot bullets.
Master's Lego bricks is over here.
Yeah, I don't know Unity very well. I only started using it in September, and so basically everything I make modular. So you want damage, you have that as a separate script that you can chuck in. You want it to home towards a certain character, and then you chuck it all together, and it all works.
You were the king of taking something that I thought was very specific and saying, no, I'm going to combine it with these 6 other things and have it be completely, totally unrelated other things.
It's amazing.
That's genuinely ideal.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
really good to work.
You're always meshing stuff together. If everyone's working on different code,
Yeah.
at some point they all have to come together.
Yeah.
What's another
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
hundred things?
Yeah. It was like the last thing was I was making a tornado attack that pulls in the player, but I didn't know how to make it, so when it touched it, it would push like a knockback type effect. So I took the knockback off of our boss enemy and
It's
just
the
chucked
same
it on.
thing, right?
There was already a standalone script
Yeah.
that did that, and you just went,
Yeah, it was-
Knockback's knockback. It's all the
Exactly.
same. You're over there, buddy.
Yeah.
Knockback is knockback.
Knockback.
pretty much.
Exactly.
Um,
I'm a little bit conscious of time.
Oh.
Do you have a few things you could show us?
That
yeah, do you
right?
wanna
Yes.
Yeah.
load
If
up
you
the
want,
thing?
to go and take a seat. The headphones on.
Nice.
We'll get that pulled up.
Yeah, so we can take a look at the pitch presentation, I
I'm
suppose.
really hoping production remembers to unmute that microphone. This is a verbal reminder. Probably. We can hear you.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
can
working?
hear
Can I get an affirmation?
Probably. There
Hey.
you go.
There you go.
Yeah, so if you pull up that one, and yeah, we can look over here. Okay, so we have a few different things here.
Is it a zip file? No. Okay.
you. I do not have the presentation. That's all right.
Oh, we might, but it'll be on my Teams.
There's our
Okay.
fellow.
All right, so what do we got here? What is this?
So this is
This
our boss
is-
character,
yes.
and this is one of the walk cycles that our animator has made. Can't speak too much about this because I didn't make it. None of us here made it, but it has caused a few issues with like setting the right anchors. Yeah, this is our character in Nimbos. Not in here.
Oh, we could do a quick.
In the pitch, yeah.
Okay. There is
Uh,
quite the
yeah,
size
this-
difference between the two.
Then we
of
have
them.
this, which is not our new raindrop. This was the raindrop that was sent in and then we redid on the fly.
So is this the current working raindrop?
So
Yes.
technically, yes. Yep, the player attack. But this GIF is not the one used in game because it's got a white background, and we couldn't use the one with the white background.
Made this thing at home, and me being the intelligent man that I am, completely forgot to either email it to myself, save it to a OneDrive, or bring my laptop in. So
Three methods you had.
lots
Three
of,
backs, yeah.
lots of different ways I could have
And
brought
probably
it in.
some others as well.
Yeah, honestly, that was pretty stupid of me. So, and this was just before the assessment thing. So, it really would have been good to have this in the build while we were showing it off to the lecturers, and all we
wow.
had was this GIF on Teams. So I kind of had to deconstruct it and then recreate it as a as the raindrop in the game.
I mean, who knows? Maybe
Did
you
it in
could,
about like 10 minutes.
yeah. Maybe you
It's
could
pretty
chuck
good.
that little white background GIF in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Who knows?
That'll be
We'll
the
have,
coconut.
Yeah, that's the coconut.
that's the
Yeah,
code.
You'll find it somewhere.
All right.
What else do we have?
All right. Here is our. This is one of our attacks that I worked on this week. Almost
it's
a minute.
curtains.
So why don't you run us through what's going on here?
So, this attack is created when the boss hits a certain button. It's supposed to be a bunch of waves of projectiles that are horizontal and that rain down from the top of the screen. But I wanted the boss to have a little bit of control over them, so you can also slightly angle the direction that they come in from. So when it gets created, it starts the attack, which is this right here, and it sets the position of it. And then throughout the duration of the attack, it will set the rotation, which is this right here, based on the boss's aiming direction. But I wanted it so you couldn't come at the player from all directions at once. So I added a maximum amount of deflection, angle deflection that you could do, which is this right here, this right here. So you can only rotate by a certain amount per wave. And then it creates a whole bunch of bullets, which is not the best solution because it's very CPU intensive.
Yeah, it works.
If
It
it works,
works.
it works. That's the motto, the programming motto.
And then the way we have
Works, don't fix it.
the
More or less.
power-ups to spawn is that the boss attacks will spawn in little coins that the player can pick up, and when they pick up enough, that's when they spawn. So this right here attaches a percentage chance for the bullets to spawn to spawn those coins.
Right.
And then it loops, and once it's done all the loops, it destroys itself.
Yeah.
So
You'll
that's that one.
notice. Actually, could you just scroll through real quick? Yeah, you'll notice that there's exactly one comment in this entire script.
I will go through and add comments.
So yeah. So
This
next
is the
time,
kind of-
I expect to see that code again with comments.
Yeah,
Uh,
this one might have more because this is actually a much more important
God.
attack.
Oh
nope,
God.
it doesn't.
This is
okay.
the whole controller.
Yeah.
It's got a couple more.
It's got a
Like,
couple more. It's got a few.
Four.
Okay, so this has been a pretty collaborative script. So this
Yeah,
is
that's true.
the main controller for
Um,
Nimbos.
This is as much Ethan's fault as my own.
Yeah, and Jesse's also helped with this one.
And Jesse. God.
Yeah, so this is a pretty collaborative script. So this controls the boss's movement, aim, and attacks. So you're getting a bunch of references at the start. The main thing I can talk about is attacking, because that's what I worked on.
Yeah.
So it's adding a bunch of checks to see if, for cooldown management, so you can't spam attacks right here. And then in here, it's subscribing and unsubscribing to a bunch of the buttons that when you press. So when you press this button, it will do attack. I'm not going to.
Fair enough, yep.
Oh, no.
You know, do attack.
It will,
Do
it will
attack.
do
That
attack,
function.
but that's not quite what it's doing yet. It's figuring out which attack it's going to do. And then it performs this horrible conversion.
Oh God.
This is
This-
probably the worst function I have ever written.
This makes me genuinely upset.
Basically, what it's doing is it's taking this string right here, this set of characters. It's taking the final character, and then it's converting that to an integer. And for some reason, when you convert a number to an integer, it doesn't turn it into an integer. It turns it into an integer plus 48
So for whatever reason,
for whatever reason. I can't
Um.
figure out. It's not the alphabet because the alphabet's 26 letters. So it's not the alphabet.
it's not the alphabet.
So I had to subtract 48. This way there's a random 48 in here. And then
Which-
finally it actually does the attack based on that horrible conversion.
Well, it's all
Yes.
part of the problem solving. You know, you
It
figured
did
out.
solve a
Exactly.
problem,
Yeah.
but it is so temperamental that if we change something, it might break later.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's something we'll find out in 2 weeks' time. Hey, how's
Yeah.
the project going? Broke.
Yep.
It's broken.
Doesn't work
Everything's
anymore.
broken.
And then here's the actual attack. So it checks if the boss is telegraphing, so if it's doing an animation currently.
Man.
And then it's checking that list of checks to see if it is attacking, so it can't spam attacks. And if it isn't, it will do a whole bunch of math and checks to see which kind of attack it should do. And then once it's figured out what kind of attack it should do and what its settings are, it will finally create a warning and then a delay, and then it'll actually create the attack, which will summon something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So this will be exciting to see in a few weeks' time all the different attacks you'll have laid out
Yeah.
and maybe see
Um,
them.
It'd be good to do a
Yeah.
little demo or something, maybe.
But I think that is roughly all the time we have for you this week, though.
Okie doke.
So it's been great seeing what you have to offer this
Yeah.
week. It'll be very exciting to see what you have in 2 weeks' time. See
If we've
some-
got anything.
some more fun facts. I don't know, maybe a raindrop animation that doesn't have a
Yeah.
white background.
Maybe.
I mean, there is one.
Maybe, yeah, it'll be fun to see that. But
No promises.
yeah, but thank you all for coming in this week.
Yeah, thank you for
and
having
excited
us.
to see you in a few weeks. But if everyone stays tuned, we'll take a short 5-minute break and then we'll be back. Your game is The Withering Voyage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't you guys start? Just give me a brief synopsis. What is this game?
Okay, apparently I am.
Yeah.
It's a top-down boat game where essentially you play as a plague doctor, and you have to try and save all the patients before they die. But in the meantime, all the patients are slowly getting corrupted by an eldritch horror that wants to take over and keeps on changing the recipes for the potions. And yeah, that's
Okay. So where did how did initial brainstorms come about for this game then?
We more just put down all our diversifiers and then just list our ideas.
yeah.
And we had the idea of a doctor in a plague, and then we combined with a boat.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were like we were just kind of like I don't know, we just kind of like as soon as this idea came to it was just like written down as just a sort of vague thing. We immediately like, yeah, this is great. We need to keep.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Originally, it was supposed to be more story based, but since we didn't have a writer at the time, we went to a more arcadey style.
Yeah,
But now we're planning on going back to story because now we're a writer.
yeah, we have a
Yeah,
writer.
we had a new person come into our team who's narrative, so we're having to backtrack a little bit on our more arcadey style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too,
I
yeah.
suppose, so how much different then is the game scoped out to be from what you originally had planned?
It's not really. It's the same mechanics. It's just
Yeah, it's
tweaking them
just-
slightly to fit more of a narrative.
Yeah.
But there will be a lot more dialogue to get to know the patients.
Yeah.
They won't be randomised. They will be unique.
And
Yeah.
so you reckon you can all fit this extra workload in and still get everything finished on time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can. We
We've
still
got-
have quite a couple weeks away.
Yeah, we've got the main skeleton of the game, which is the most important thing and the longest thing to get done. So now it's just a case of playing around with the pacing and adding extra things in and refining it.
So I suppose, how did it get from then? How did you decide? Okay, we've got this idea, this sort of general arcade style game that we want to make. How did then that start formulating into? Okay, it's going to look like this. It's going to play like this. We're going to add this sort of feature. What was that general brainstorming like?
Well, originally, we were gonna go for a 3D, a fully 3D game because, so we had to choose a diversifier, and we originally were gonna go for a historical accuracy one, but then we changed it to fixed camera, so then we had to change the style a lot. I don't remember how we came to how everything worked though. Do you remember?
As in, yeah, originally it was going to be first person, going to
Yeah.
patients and curing them. But since we were straying too far from being historical, we decided to choose fixed camera instead and go between ship levels. Since the camera doesn't actually move between the ship levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I suppose how's that been then trying to go? Obviously, you started historical. You've gone sort of far away from that. What's it been like, sort of? I guess developing that idea of inaccurate history and the sort of eldritch route that you've gone down.
So it was pretty nice because we did not have to be historical.
Yeah.
We don't have to constantly look up Wikipedia articles and stuff to try and figure out how whether this specific thing is accurate to 1352. We could just say it is and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's far less research. We can just throw things in and just be like, this is in it now.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
no
more
questions
like
asked.
creative liberty to say, oh, this
Yeah.
is why is it like that? Magic.
Yeah, exactly.
A
Pretty
wizard
much,
did
yeah.
it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, also we can change about with the boats because originally it was 1300s, but now we've changed it to 1500s.
Oh yeah, we did.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be accurate.
Yeah.
1,300 boats are terrible.
Yeah.
Right,
they
it's,
weren't
just
great.
it's just a 1300 boat in the 1500s.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
1500 boat in the past. Why not?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not really constraining yourself in that way of saying, okay, well, if it's like that, then it can't be like this.
No.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot more creative creative liberty to do whatever, really.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I suppose when you decided, okay, we're going to have a fixed camera, how did you sort of think, what's the best way to tell this story then? And what's the best way to have it look with just a fixed camera?
Originally there was no story, but what we saw for was definitely doing a lot of interesting post-processing effects and lighting to like get an eerie vibe. That's what we were going to do. And like lots of sound and like good sound effects and sound design.
I heavily pushed for a 3D environment with 2D assets because I'm doing all the animation and all the art for the game. And doing 2D art is a lot easier to animate and to put in, and also, if anything, like it just sort of like aids the style of being a little bit more like old-timey. And then we had one of our other teammates, Tom, who done like a visual prototype as well to get an idea of maybe how the game would look and feel before we even started working on like the builds.
Yeah, okay. So how has that been sort of for you as animating everything and creating some art? I know for a lot of teams it can be quite a struggle. There's a limited number of artists here, like within all the different groups. What's that sort of workload been like making everything?
It's a lot because like my course isn't actually art. I'm an animator, but because all the like assets and UI and patients are 2D, I then have to like draw them. I haven't gotten around to animating yet. But yeah, it's a lot. But you know, everyone has a very big workload. So
we don't have many animations. Just the patients like reeling around in pain and the doctor walking.
To be fair, most of the animations we have, once I've got like the prototype down, like some like really rough animations, I can then refine them. And it's a lot easier.
So it sounds like you've got like, quite a lot of everything already nailed down and ready to go. It's just so more polishing and refining. I suppose what's that been like for you guys, sort of reviewing your sprints and setting workloads for each other and just going through the process of actually getting work done each week?
I think we've all been pretty consistent with getting our work done each week, at least for the three of us. Like we don't really overload ourselves. We just set a goal that we can all achieve on time and then get it done. And then if we have any more, we can just take some from the backlog.
Yeah,
at least that's what I do.
Yeah. So you're all communicating well and into the agile process and all that good stuff. Yeah.
We have a lesson every Tuesday which we use for sprint meetings where we all sit down for a good 30-40 minutes and talk about where the game is, what we all think about the game, what we think needs to be added or changed, and what we can potentially get done in that sprint, or what needs to be redone, or just things like that, which is quite nice.
So how does your team split up in terms of the different disciplines and backgrounds?
Well, we have 3 programmers, 3 designers, and 2 artists. One who does 3D and traditional art.
Yeah.
So
and then we have a narrative.
So the programmers, we more just go off and just start implementing stuff that the designers give us. I'm not sure how you guys communicate with each other.
With us designers, I'm more sort of level. I'm more sort of like UI design and audio design. That's something I've specialized in with this. The other 2 designers, from what I'm aware, share a lot of documents with each other. Where they kind of talk with, I'm guessing they talk around with a lot of the programmers and try to implement stuff that gets done.
Yeah. You more like communicate with Gemma.
I communicate. I'm communicate with more of the artists, and because I'm mainly doing UI design and audio design.
So you've sort of like broken down into your core teams then, of sort of doing your stuff together and then bringing it all together. Yeah,
it's very much a chain of communication of like going to different people, getting the work done, and then like sharing it to the team, and just sort of like doing everything in like small groups and like individually before moving on to getting it to the entire team.
So working in the program group, how has that been, sort of collaborating with other programmers and all working on the same project together but differently, and then combining it all in GitHub and all that stuff?
We have had a lot of merge conflicts
no.
where we've accidentally edited the same script by accident without communicating. That was like at the start, and we've gotten a lot better at just communicating by saying, okay, do not edit these scripts.
I'm working on this one. Don't work on it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what's that process like then when you go to merge and say, oh, that's not what it's supposed to be. That's changed. Oh, did you change it? Oh no.
Have to go in manually to the code and just get it back and just basically copy and paste each of his parts together. Is the main
Just
part.
cobble.
Yeah.
That seems like the most common answer to that question.
Yes.
Yeah. Just hope.
totally.
Just stitch it together and pray.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it works, don't touch it.
I suppose is that similar for you when it comes to like sort of designing the animations and such like that?
Kind of. To be fair, I get quite a bit of like creative and artistic freedom of it because I'm the only one who draws. So it's very much Sam will like give me a design, and I'll just like throw a bunch of sketches in, or I'll like come up with something and then sketch out and then get feedback and just.
Yeah.
Because it's just me. It's a lot easier. The only. Like, I'll ask the team for feedback and then I'll just keep doing, like, small changes and iterations until we've got something we all like. But most of the time, visually, like, for, like, 2D art, it's mostly just me coming up with stuff.
So you've done most of the general artwork for the game then?
Yeah, I don't do... All the 3D modelling is done by the other artists, but I don't know all the drawings and all the concepts.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of the concept art. It is very good. And we'll probably show some of that off in a moment. But it's a lot. It seems like a lot. It seems like you've done quite a lot for one. Like when I first saw this pitch and all these different sketches and art, it looked like you had a full team of people behind you doing that.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
It's just me.
Are you doing
Yeah.
too much
It's a
work?
hostage situation.
We're into the mode. Smile, you enjoy this.
They found an artist. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I've just now got to animate them, which is gonna be fun,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I'll figure it out.
You've got a full team of people, and then when it's ready, you get to say, "Hey, look, now it's your turn to mess with the thing I've made."
Yes.
Because of the amount of workload, I've basically resigned to until because a lot of my work that I do is at the start and then towards the end of the game. There's less for me to do. I'm avoiding the engine until touching the technical things
right.
until I have to.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
to.
I suppose that's also your role as a designer, just to not touch any of the actual stuff and tell other people how to make a game. Hey, I have this idea.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
One of our designers has asked to basically implement a scroll wheel for navigating through the inventory. I'm thinking, yeah, I can get that done. It will be a pain.
I can do it.
It will be a pain. I mean, just using 1, 2, 3 on the keyboard would be better. It would be easier, but sure, I can do the scroll wheel.
Well, the designers think of the same thing.
Yes.
I don't know how to code a scroll wheel, but I know someone who can.
Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose what has that been like for you? Sort of coming up with like core design pillars and key aspects for the game to base your work around.
I've mainly been doing a lot of the UI design and the audio design. But for the UI design, what I would do is I'd come up with a layout. Then I would come up with sort of layout of the UI. So I'm no artist myself. I just use Canva for a lot of my layouts. I just sort of like I create a layout for basic UI. So say like patient talking UI or something. Then I would give it to our artists or like our artist of the group, and Ope, and then just kind of like Ope who would then create the assets for that, and then our programmers would go and sort of create them based on the sort of the layout that I've made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think do we want to get over to having a look at some of the stuff we've made?
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Sure.
one of you wants to go and sit over at that computer over there.
Who would like to?
I'm
I
happy
don't
to.
mind if one of you does,
Alright.
and then put
Cool.
the headphones on that are just next to it. So just run us through what do we have here at the moment?
For this one, this is sort of the. Was this from the alpha? I think. Was
Yeah,
this from
this is the
Restoration Build?
alpha.
Oh, it's the alpha. Yeah, this is the alpha version of the patient dialogue. We've got a name system. Wait, how? We've got a name system programmed in. Wait, how have we done the name system, by the way?
What I've done is just first names, last names, pick 2 random, combine them together.
Fair enough.
That's
The best
Yeah.
way- the best
Oh,
way
yeah,
to
that's what I
name
was thinking. I
anything.
just want a confirmation on that. Yeah, this has been. This is just a generic sort of this is just sort of like a screenshot of gameplay. It's got you on the bottom. It's got an insanity meter in the top left.
Oh, okay, so run us
Which-
through this insanity meter then. What does that do?
Basically, for our original designs, the more insane, okay, your character will get sort of more insane over time. As I mean, if I were in the situation, this doctor would be just checking over patients, and all of a sudden this guy is growing a tentacle out of one arm or something. I think that would mess me up a little bit myself. But your insanity will go up depending on certain things.
Yeah, depending on your insanity, there's a more likelihood chance of a recipe in the recipe book changing and trying to trick you into creating a fake medicine.
Yeah.
And also the screen starts getting a lot more distorted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like some visual changes as well. I think we're gonna like develop a bit more on what happens like as the insanity meter goes up to help like impact gameplay and game feel. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I suppose if you want to go back to the previous one really quickly,
Okay.
what was the sort of decision then to go with this like 2D narrative story, like telling it with these boxes and the characters?
I think that came from when we were originally planning on having a more narrative based game, and I think our inspiration was like Persona 5, where we had the character sprites and then the dialogue for them, along with their model.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we went for.
Okay. So
Also, you can get a better look at the patients, because from that far away
Yeah.
you can't exactly see them, and they can actually see all the detail for their mutations.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
mean, that's what I was thinking with
Yeah.
that for the UI. I was originally thinking when I was coming up with the layout for it, because the sprite, exactly what Theo was saying, the patients will be a bit small, so I thought it would be a cool way to sort of show them
yeah, you can
up
see
close
their
and just sort of
development
see how they've changed over time and see how mutated they would eventually get.
I just close it and open something else.
Okay. Bear with.
May open on the other screen, just to warn you.
This is the actual game.
There
We've got the
we
whole
go.
game up. All right.
I didn't think it would. Yeah,
So-
do you wanna
Warning,
run us
that
through
maybe
this
the sound hasn't been mixed, so
That-
maybe quite loud.
Fine.
Yeah, maybe a
yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
loud. Just a warning.
Okay.
Just a warning for any viewers.
Or not.
So recipes. Okay.
So you got a patient just in that bed over here.
So you're this box here.
Yeah, on this box.
Yeah.
We haven't come up with animations
Yeah,
for the
that's,
doctor
that's
yet. Just use your bit of your imagination here. So Jake Tommen here, he has boils and he needs to
Doctor,
salve.
I have boils. I need it.
A bit typographic.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, don't worry about it. Still in
Okay,
early development.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And this guy needs a salve of Catinveneer. I might have mispronounced that horribly. Bear with me.
We'll get our narrative.
You'll get our
person
narrative
to
person
make a
to sort that out
phonetics.
So what was that
chart.
timer you had on in there?
The timer is how long this patient has left to live.
Okay.
When
so
that
they
reaches
mutate
zero,
it.
when that reaches zero, they are dead. Is this the correct thing to say?
Yeah,
I'm trying-
that
It's
is. It's the white box table.
Oh,
Yeah.
The
sorry about that.
untextured one. There we go.
So if we,
It's a Q and E to move
Oh,
between
yeah.
the recipe books.
the salve here, we need rose petals, charcoal, and alcohol. So for we're knowing that, I need to go and find those specifically.
I think the charcoal's downstairs.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, chocolate is downstairs. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I did not go downstairs. I feel like a game reviewer right now.
Yeah.
So
Your game
more like is closer to high, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, since it's dark and rainy outside, so yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Are you pressing the correct button to interact? It's
No,
mouse
probably.
click.
Max, oh my
It's
god.
mouse-
Oh,
I do feel like a game reviewer right now.
There we go.
It's
So,
not
yeah.
E anymore.
It's
Sam,
not
you
E
sure
anymore.
you know how to play video
Perhaps
games?
some kind
Dude,
of.
I'd be real with you. I have not. I am not using that. I do not think this is the latest bit of the game. Okay, I got chocolate. Let's go.
Tutorial or
Yeah,
you know,
I feel like
input
that guy. I felt like that one guy played Cuphead that one
Press
time.
P, you get the tutorial. You get the.
Yeah. Damn.
Okay.
Damn.
Oh, so this has controller support as well.
Yes,
Yeah, it
does.
it's mainly designed for controller.
Yeah,
Keyboard is a
that's
secondary.
what I'm used to when I tested this game out. Oh, Jake Tommen's looking very good. I need to sort
Yeah,
that.
he's mutated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's not what I need.
Yeah, let's do
Uh,
that.
Oh, that's how you drop items.
Yeah.
I was about to say what happens when you run out of space.
Originally, you just ran out of space, and that was it.
Yeah,
that
you're screwed.
yeah. That was something that
Alright.
definitely needed to be implemented, so we got that in.
Alcohol.
God, the patients are racking up.
Yeah, they're wrapping up.
Yeah, we definitely need to.
I am not a very. I feel like if I were accepted into any medical profession, I feel like I would immediately be fired.
One thing we need to do in playtesting is that we need to give them more time.
Yeah.
Everyone's decided that we're gonna
Right.
limit. Gonna
I've got
have
the
like about
salve.
3 patients, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I
Instead
think
of having
we have
5.
the salve.
Okay,
Oh,
we have what my guy needs.
yeah.
Let's see. Let's hope
I'm
this
focusing on
doesn't
my boy
break.
Jake over here.
This is.
Oh, he's a minus 30. Yeah, I think he's.
He's
Well, he lives.
Yeah.
It's a miracle. It's a medical miracle.
Alright, so
That's a bit concerning.
that's the sort of general gameplay loop.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
gameplay loop. Yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah.
It needs like this refining and stuff.
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
needs to happen.
we do need to refine it, but that's basically what the gameplay loop is at the moment.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, I can't wait to see. Obviously, in 2 weeks' time when you come back, it'll be great to
Yeah.
see how that's improved. But I think for now, that's actually really. It's great that you've got something to actually show us that this early into the
Yeah.
development process. I think.
Yeah.
But,
Hopefully by then we'll have more unique
Yeah.
NPC dialogue.
And hopefully then I'll be a little
Yeah.
bit better at this game.
You know what, Sam? I'm glad you're studying game design and not medicine.
Yep.
'Cause
Yeah,
I trust
I'd
you
make.
as a doctor.
I would not make a good doctor. I have found out.
Oh, it's been what? It's been like 5 hours. The doctor
Yeah, it's
hasn't
been,
come
the
back.
patient's already dead. He was dead when I got here. Anyway,
but yeah, I think that's. If
ooh,
you
I
want to just
think I
come,
might
and,
have.
come and sit back down real quick.
Yes, I will. Just do that.
Okay. But no, that's actually a really good build for right now. Yeah, again, just the fact that you have something showable and playable.
Yeah.
You're the first team so far that has had anything to play for, so I think it'd be really cool to see in a few months' time when you can come back and look at this week 1. It looks like this, and it's gonna look like whatever
Yeah,
it
I
looks
mean,
like.
it always does at this
Yeah,
stage.
yeah. It'll be great to see how you've all improved, and
Yeah.
it sounds like you've all got a really good game, and it's you're all very excited about it, and we're all very excited to see what will come of it in the next few weeks. But I think that for now that's all we have time for. So
Okay.
I guess thank you all so much for
Perfect.
joining me,
Many times.
and
Thank you for having
and thanks to
us.
everyone at home
Yeah,
for
thank-
tuning in. If you tune in next week, we'll have 2 more amazing teams. Who knows what they're making? I don't actually know what they're making. Sam probably knows, but we'll find out what they're making next week, and then you guys will come back so you get to see how these guys have improved in 2 weeks' time. But for now, I think that's everything. So that's thank you for watching and goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.